Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we have another Bannerlord discussion video about a proposed mechanic. So we have covered a couple of this guy's posts. He does a really good job. He mentions a concept. He talks about how it would be implemented into the game, and also talks about how the new concept will interact with the existing parts of the game. So I do appreciate the content. Usually we just go over it. We give our opinions. And look at that, we got a little thank you again. Appreciate that. But yeah, we have gone over a couple of these mechanics. Very cool. I enjoy reading these. You guys enjoy seeing them, so I'm gonna keep bringing them to you. But this one's called City Activities. And before we do get into it, I am gonna link this down below. If you do enjoy it, go upvote it, go comment on it, do all that, all that good stuff. But yeah, let's get right into it. So, proposed mechanics, city activities. Hello, in a recent post I proposed mechanics for how a player could interact with an owned castle. From hiring weapon masters to dealing out outlaw and order, to local villagers to local policy options. I now wish to outline how a player could interact with an owned city. In my mind, a castle is really just an armed camp with walls, true, primarily for military functions. A city, with its constant flow of trade and criminal activities, would be a much more complicated beast to master. I agree. Alrighty, so outline. I propose that the city life is affected chiefly by the wealth of the... So is affected chiefly by the wealth of the merchants versus the power of criminal gangs. Okay. Strong criminal gangs mean unhappy merchants who may demand action from the city owner. Failure to deal with these issues will lead to an unhappy city and may lead the city's merchants to appeal to the king. For the below to really work, it would require AI lords to have more agency in the world. This would involve AI-led plots, a mechanic. So plots, what it pretty much means is like AI lords would either do like a plot to kill somebody or a plot to humiliate them. It's just certain things that you can do. I think during like, what was it, like a meetup or during a feast where they can get together and then do something to another AI lord, right? As well as AI lords buying up workshops and engaging with the criminal gangs. Okay. So we got city militia, criminal gangs, and the steward. I'm pretty sure the steward's like the guy, he's like the governor, right? Yeah, a governor that can be appointed. So those are the three things we're going to talk about today. So let's get into it. Let's see what I think about it. So city militia. Depending on the city policy, a city would spawn up to 3 parties of militia. Okay, as in like police force kind of, right? These parties would focus on hunting down looters and gang parties operating near the city. Yeah, kind of like police, right? Militia parties would not attack lord parties even if the lord is hostile to the city owner. Okay, yeah, because they have to follow the rules. They're kind of, you know what I mean? They can't attack the people who employ them in a way, right? Because I'm pretty sure the owner of the guy has to pay a militia fee, right? Or something like that. Then militia parties would not be considered part of the faction's fighting strength. Okay. The reason being is that these men are purely for law and order and not to fight wars. Exactly. So like nowadays we have troops, and then we have they go, overseas, they go fight wars type of thing. And then militia or the police, they don't go overseas. They stay here and they just police the public, kind of. So yeah, makes sense. Should a player attack a militia party, they will seriously sour the relationship with the city owner as well as the city's merchants. Okay. You could also do like a bounty system. Like if you do too much crime, let's say with the criminal gangs, you gain a bounty in that city, and then you can either pay off the bounty so they'll be okay with you, but once you reach a certain point, the militia will attack you on sight unless you have like a hood on or something, right? Something like that. I think that would be a cool thing to add, right? The militia units would be led by a randomly generated captain. Yeah, kind of like a companion randomly generated, like how companions were randomly generated. It could be that same way. And maybe like each captain has like a little benefit, you know what I mean, to either their fighting capabilities or how they lead their troops, morale, and stuff of that nature, right? Now, criminal gangs. So that's how the militia would work. Yeah, I agree with that. We should have some bounties and stuff of that nature. What's it called? these parties, I feel like that they should hunt down looters, but they shouldn't just do it repeatedly, like all over the time, because I feel like they would take over, unless there's something that says in criminal gangs where they're like a huge organization, right? Maybe like if they see a criminal doing something that they're not supposed to, or they walk past that exact time, then they do it, right? Then they try to hunt them down, and yeah. Or maybe you can even have like a quest. Let's say there's a quest that this militia captain has, and he's like, hey, we've noticed the criminals have been gathering a lot of this type of resource. They've been stealing a lot of this type of resource, and it's held in this specific place. Would you want to help us to, get rid of these guys and get our stuff back? We'll give you a portion of the items. That could be like a quest related to, cleaning up the city, right? We kind of have a similar one that's that already kind of cleans up criminal gangs that's already in the game, but something like that would be cool if a militia was added, right? Now, criminal gangs. In a previous post, I outlined how players and AI lords could contract criminal gangs to carry out actions. Okay. For simplicity, I will also list how they can be used here. All of these actions would require sizable payments to the gangs. Okay. While this wealth would be constantly degrading, new contracts from lords and the actions of gang parties would increase it. The greater the wealth, the more parties. The gang can field, up to 3 parties of 30 to 50 men each. The gang's wealth would also increase the chance of success of certain activities and contracts below. Okay, so you can pretty much hire them to do certain things. What would also be cool? How we have cultures and stuff like that? Well, I feel like in terms of like criminal gangs, what would be cool is let's say there's like 5, 6, you could even do like 7 or 8 different types of criminal gangs that fly under their own like banner, right? And let's say each, I don't know how many settlements are in Bannerlord, but let's say that if there's like 6 of them, 6 different criminal gangs, each of them occupy a couple of towns, if that kind of makes sense, right? So if you become friends and you start paying a criminal gang in this town, then they could also do favors for you in like 2 or 3 other towns as well, right? Because they control those as well. And then another thing that would be cool is, because I know there's a quest now where you can join one criminal gang to take out another. And what would be cool is if those if that mission, pretty much whoever you choose to side with is the one who's going to now take over and become the new criminal gang of that town. So they would kind of be switching positions, kind of the same way as like you can take over a town and then it becomes part of your kingdom. A criminal gang can take over a different town and then it's going to be run by them instead of the other gang. That would be kind of cool. And you can kind of intervene and kind of help the gangs or whatever to either gain reputation with them, so it's easier to, so you pay less because they like you more and stuff of that nature. That would be pretty cool. But let's read the stuff that you could ask them to do for some dinars. So target the caravans or parties of X clan or X faction. I agree. I think that would be a good thing to do. Also, would it be targeted like around the town or when they visit the town? It'd be kind of cool. Like when they visit the town, then it gets targeted, right? Like, kind of like a surprise attack. Vandalize the workshop in the town, putting it out of action for a set period of time. I think this is a good idea. Very good idea. Assassinate, kidnap X Lord or any Lord of X faction. I feel like kidnap, yes. I think kidnap should be very, very expensive. To assassinate, I think you need to have like a high level like leadership, a high level rogue skill, or the criminal gang has to they have to be big in terms of like, let's say if a criminal gang owns like, let's say 5 or 6 towns, which is more than they usually start out with, right? Then I think then there should be, like, what I'm trying to say is there should be a big what do you call it? A big milestone that you have to pass before you can ask them to assassinate, or it would cost way too much to assassinate. Because if you can just ask a criminal gang to assassinate whoever you don't like, I feel like, once you have a good sizable income, you can just say, hey, kill this person, that person, that person, that person, and they can just do all the work for you. I think this should be very hard to achieve. This should be expensive to kidnap, but to assassinate, it should be very hard to get that done, or it should be a very, very low chance they are successful, if that kind of makes sense. Because the game would become easy mode if you can just, you know, chop everybody. Now, trade for rare, unique items. Yeah. You could also ask them to steal some items for you, right? And they do it for less of a price, but you would have to give them something in return, right? Do not target the player's caravans / kingdom's caravans. Protection money. Okay, yeah. Would the criminal gangs be attached to looters? Would they have like some kind of contracts with like looters and sea raiders and other bandits? I think that would be kind of cool too. If let's say you met a criminal gang at this town and they own a couple other towns, right? They're like they have a big presence in a lot of other towns, but they also have a contract currently with the mountain bandits. And if you want them to, you know, tell the mountain bandits to go do something, then you can. See, I feel like this can get really in depth if you really think about it, and I think that's how it should be. And hopefully, like later in the game, that's how it is. You know, either with the developers doing it or with just mods. I think having it being this kind of complex and difficult and all these different relationships, I think it would be very, very cool, and it would provide a lot of replayability, if that kind of makes sense, right? It would be fun to always start something new because you could kind of like tell your own story in your own eyes, right? Kind of like role play, but not really role play, if that kind of makes sense. Now, uncover plots. Should a player have partial details of a plot as described below, the gang could be paid to uncover it further. Likewise, should a lord involved in a plot enter the city, there's a % chance some details of the plot will become known to the gang. The gang will then offer to sell this information to friendly lords. Okay. Sell information, yeah. Break prisoner out, a mechanic I proposed here. I also have a mechanic on how to break prisoners out, but yes, a gang could probably help you with that, right? Now, the gang parties would work differently than regular bands of looters. They would target they would target selectively based on who has paid them off and who they are paid to target. Okay. Gangs would have their own troop tree, which would branch off into cavalry, ranged, and infantry units. Yeah, I feel like they should have that as well. You know, make them a little bit more complex, a little bit more diverse. Yeah. What else do I want to add to gangs? I think that's pretty. Yeah, I think that's pretty good actually. For sure. Oh, also, I think there should be some items that that are like illegal contraband that the gangs should have, and that they could have like their own type of caravans, but they're kind of like illegal caravans, right? That kind of makes sense. Like on them when they go into a town, they look like a normal caravan, but they're really carrying is some items that aren't legal, right? Not it doesn't have to be drugs or anything like that, right? But like back in like back in the day, kind of like when Bannerlord's timeline, and like back in the day, like a long time, like thousands years ago, right? You know, you had items that were illegal in certain parts and certain areas that are pretty common, right? I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, like certain foods, certain like just random stuff used to be banned randomly. I can't give you a specific example, right? I can give you alcohol used to be banned in America, like not really too long ago. What was it like? I don't know exactly when. I'm not. My history isn't great, but random stuff used to get banned and stuff of that nature. So I feel like the gang should be able to make a lot of their money by peddling illegal items and having their own caravans around. I think that'd be kind of cool. And you know, it'd be also kind of cool. Instead of going to a regular person and be like, hey, I want to start a caravan, you can go up to a gang leader and be like, hey, I want to start an illegal peddling caravan. That would also be a cool addition to it. Now we have the steward, which is kind of like the governor, right? Much as in the castle post, every city would come with a randomly generated steward. I think we kind of have that. We have the artisan, right? Right now, he could be that person, right? But he doesn't really do much, so I'm guessing he's going to say all the stuff that he can do, right? A governor can also be appointed, taking most of the functions of the steward. The steward/governor can be asked to undertake the following actions/policies. Increase militia patrols. A player could, at significant expense, increase the city's militia patrols to up to 3 parties. This would increase the happiness of merchants, but also anger the criminal gangs. I also think if something does happen, like if the criminal gangs are too angry, they're going to call in reinforcements and your city might be raided or something like that. I think that would be cool too, right? Like you need to keep this balance between both of them, because if one gets too angry, there's always a negative to it. I think that would be cool. Then we have random events/decisions. The player will be asked to rule on certain legal cases. Their decisions could impact relations with criminal gangs. Exactly, like, you know what I mean? You have to keep this balance or stuff might get wild. So their decision could impact relations with criminal gangs, the merchants, their king, and other nobles. Seize workshop. Should a rival clan own a workshop in the city, the player may as a steward may ask a steward to seize it. This is an illegal action, and the player could face punishment from the king. A mechanic I propose here. Okay. This action would also anger the city's merchants. Okay. Steward can also be asked to send letters or arrange rendezvous with other lords. Okay. Should a lord involved in a plot enter the city, there is a very small chance that the steward will learn of the plots. The steward would then message his lord, the player, with the partial information he had. An example, Lord Edna and Lord X are planning to kill Lord X, right? Or Lord Y, we could put it in that situation. Again, I discussed how a plot mechanic would work here, and we have gone over that in a previous video. Now, investigate criminal gang. The steward will look into existing contracts the gang may have with AI lords. This has mixed chance of success, and should the steward fail, relationships with the gang will take a hit. Yeah, like you're trying to snoop and they catch you. Yeah. Raid Gang X. This would involve a street fight between the city's garrison and targeted gang in which a player may partake. Should it be successful, a portion of the gang's wealth will be seized, seriously diminishing their influence. Of course, relationships with the gang will suffer, as well as other lords who had contracts with them. Relationships with the city's merchant will receive a significant boost, however. Exactly what I just stated above, I'm pretty sure. Yes, this should be a quest, right? Bar merchants of X clan / factions. This will bar merchants. Okay. This will anger the city's merchants, and should they have good relationship with the clan, this will also anger the king. Okay. Hold a tournament. I propose that rather than happening automatically, clans should have to pay for such an event. Holding an event while costing money would provide a boost to your clan's influence. The tournament would also increase relationship with the city merchants. I think it should also upgrade their prosperity as well. Like, it's a place to be, so obviously the prosperity should go up, right? Because you're hosting a tournament. Hold feasts. I intend to write another post. We have gone over the fief post, so I agree with that one as well. The steward will also inform the player of rumors, price spikes in goods, recent war developments, and stuff of that nature. Okay, yeah. Anyway, these are my thoughts for ways to make cities feel alive. When I walk around the cities, how I always admire the work the devs took to make them look so unique and beautiful. This said, the ways to interact with them is somewhat limited. I love the game and to see it having such an amazing potential. For the moment, I'm having to be patient while the devs do what they need to do behind the scenes to lay a solid foundation for what's to come. I can't wait to see what they do. Me as well. We just got 1.4.3 today. This video is probably going to be uploaded like a day or two after 1.4.3 has come out. But yeah, we have gotten some good changes. But yeah, I agree with mostly all of this. Another thing that I would add to make the city more alive, like, I know we have like that one board game that you can play. I don't know if it's one, but I haven't even tried it, to be honest with you. But I feel like there should be, well, again, it's kind of a controversial kind of topic, right? But we should have like a gambling feature. We do have it for tournaments, if we're being honest with you. We do have it for tournaments where we could you know what I mean, put up dinars and win them if we win the fight or whatever. But I think we should have it for like different board games. I think we should be able to play cards. They probably didn't have cards back in the day. I don't know, but I love games where you know, you can spend hours and hours just playing some little mini game inside the game. A great example right now of a top game, Red Dead Redemption 2. You sit down, you play cards. I swear to God, I started a playthrough. I got to the card table. I didn't care if we were paying for 30 cents, for 50 cents, for $2. I was there for an hour and a half playing that little card game inside the game, and I thought it was so amazing. I feel like I might have to try the board game. I just don't know the rules yet, and I've been too lazy to figure out the rules. But I think we should add more of those board games. I think we should up the odds. You know, we should put stuff up. Shoot. And I think that when you hold a feast, right? you should be able to play these games, but for big prizes. You know, like people will get their egos up and be like, listen, are you willing to put 20,000 on this game? Are you willing to put 50,000 on this game, like dinar wise? Because obviously you're going to be in a feast with other lords, so they're all going to have money. So then, you know, you can kind of gamble your way to the top, if that kind of makes sense. And that would kind of give another way to make it in the world. I think that would be cool. I understand that people have gambling addictions. I want to say I had an addiction, but I had a lot of problems with gambling, and I don't really gamble that much. I do play like gambling mechanics in a game. Obviously not ones where you put real money in, but when it's just in-game currency and you're just having fun with it, I think it's a very fun thing to do, in my opinion. I think it's, you know, it's entertaining. I like to do it with real money back in the day, but I realized I lost a lot of money, so I stopped doing it. But whenever it's in the game and I don't have to put my actual money in, it's just in-game currency, they're fun, in my opinion. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about what he had to say, what I had to say. Like I said before, this will all be linked down below for you guys to check it out. Show some love if you enjoy the content. He has a lot. As you can see, he has a lot. And we've only gone through, like, I think 4 at this point, 4 or 5. But we are going to keep reading more. He keeps posting more, so that's good to see. But you guys, like always, ask me questions, concerns, all of that. And like always, stay safe.